Good afternoon, everyone. It's been like about a week since my last live stream. This is Alvaro Cortez Jr., aka Lance Danger. I've been a webcomic creator for about 15 years now. My webcomic Fred Peterson the Mighty Warlord is in fact turning 15 years in August. But that's not what I came to talk about today. I was actually going to talk about a lot of other stuff and updates, and up until now, sometimes I usually kind of show a bit of promotion for the stuff that Manuel and myself are working on, but this is a little bit of a different video. Actually, let me turn the camera on. Hello, fellow humans of the internet. It's been a while since I've shown my face around here. So, there's a bit of drama going on. That's pretty much what happens lately on comic books Twitter or comic book YouTube. There's a lot of drama. I usually stay clear of it because at the end it's really not worth it in my opinion because there's so much other better things that I could do. Like right now there are a million better things that I can do right now than react to a YouTube video on the internet, on my own YouTube channel and Facebook, but this is something that kind of goes in line with what I was talking about a month ago about valid criticism and how some types of criticism aren't really criticisms, that it's more mean spirited. And there's a difference between trying to criticize something because either you don't like it and you want something quote unquote better and just kind of being a dick. There's a big difference between that. And I've been aware of the non-controversy, really. It's a non-controversy, quote unquote controversy, if you want, about Javier Pulido taking over Ninjak and the relaunch of the comic over at Valiant Comics. A lot has been, well, not really a lot. It's really like a very vocal minority that's really passionately against it, and I quite don't understand. And I guess I understand a little bit better in a sense now that I actually ran into this video. It's from this YouTuber called Thinking Critical. I think I may have seen a video of this on this channel once before talking about X-Men, and I didn't really, to each their own. It's not my kind of channel. Let's just put it that way. I'm not really like the audience for this channel. When I see like a review site on YouTube or something, I just kind of expect a review and not so much personal opinion injected into it as much as apparently this person does into his videos. It's more like an opinion piece than a review, to be honest. At least that was the impression that I got. I'm going to actually. I saw this video in its entirety, and I actually had to settle down a little bit after watching it because there were some things that were. Well, I don't know. You guys will see it with me as well. Hopefully, the audio will go up as well. Last time I tried to put an audio with a YouTube segment of a friend that passed away. The audio didn't come out. I'm still learning this site that I use to stream and whatnot. I believe I do know how to share videos as well with audio. You know, technology. What can I say? All right, let's not drag this too much. All right, here we go. The video that I'm going to be commenting on is a uh, YouTube channel called Thinking Critical. The video in question is called Comic Customers Aren't Allowed to Criticize Anything. And I'm actually going to comment a little bit on a previous video they made because halfway through the video or towards the end or something, they mentioned that they had done a video almost a year ago about this same topic when the original promotional art for Ninjak came out. So I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on that one too because I wanted to not see things halfway. If I'm going to react to it, I am going to the bottom of it. So, okay, let's see. Share audio, Chrome tab. Okay, let's see. I think it is working. Let me give this a few seconds because I just want to really make sure that the audio is working as well. You're probably going to hear a bit of an echo trying to figure this out. Let's see. Actually, I can already see that it's not really working. So let me just stop real quick. Yeah, this is live, so you'll have to bear with me. How do I do this? Because last time I know I actually was able to share. Share audio. Do, 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 do. Let's see, even if it doesn't. Let's see. Because obviously I can hear it myself, but hmm. Let me just check something out real quick. Let me just check something out real quick. It doesn't want to share, which is kind of funny because, again, like, I guess what I can do is that I can probably play the audio on my cell phone or on a tablet or something so you guys can hear the video and then watch the video if you wish, and then I will go ahead and let's see. Let me look up the video here. So yeah, like it's been a while since I've seen some people being so triggered by an artist apparently. Mm, I'm sorry about that. Let's see if I'm able to at least have the audio play.
Make your internet magical. Bring every room to life with 1 gig internet from Optimum. Now it's built in.
That, of course.
That's it. Go comatose for me, baby. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Hold it. This is getting confusing. You didn't always hate each other. There had to be some nice
Let me
moments
know,
during
you
the
guys,
courtship,
if the
maybe.
audio is actually
Welcome back to
coming up.
Thinking Critical. This is Wes. You're going to get a double dose of Eric Breed this week. Actually, it's going to be a triple dose because you're going to get a top 10 Marvel video later in the week. But tomorrow we've got an interesting conversation that'll be popping up first thing. But today I wanted to talk to you about this issue with Ninjak. Eric, you know that I'm a big
If
fan of
anyone's
that comic,
watching, let me know
specifically
if
it
you
was
can
Ninja
actually hear
Cave
the
during
audio.
the reboot. It sounds like they're taking off the hype and it's going to be Ninjak again. Javier Pulido is going to be the artist. He's done some big 2 work before. There's been some criticism of that art, and
I
I don't know, you
really
can't
wish that you
criticize
guys
anything
could see the
anymore.
video
And he was
too
talking
as
to me
I'm
about that.
playing.
Is the voice of the voiceless, the man of the people. The man's so cool they call him the Green. Eric Green, how you doing? I'm doing well. Have you seen this art from Javier Pulido? I did a video on this. I think it was almost a year ago when they initially announced this title. I made fun of the art then. It still looks atrocious. What is your take? It's not good.
Right, I don't know if you guys are hearing it, but they're like talking about how the art looks atrocious for this Ninjak comic that's going to be coming out. I don't know when is it exactly it's going to be coming out. It should be coming out soon. Hmm. Let's see. Hmm. Okay. Just give me one brief moment because I really want you guys to like check this out too. This is what happens for being a cheap ass and not getting like I guess like the full um editing or something for this program or whatnot. Like it's supposed to be sharing, but it's actually not sharing. Hmm. All right, let me just keep playing the audio from my cell phone in any case. So basically, the gist of it, they start off talking about Wes from Thinking Critical, I believe is the host of this channel. And if you guys don't agree or you have your own hot take, like don't contact these people or anything or spread more hate or whatever out there. You know, if you want to like give your honest opinion, definitely do that, but don't go like attacking or harassing anyone because of it, because this isn't the point of all this. The point of all this is trying to kind of deconstruct all this that they're talking about.
It's to me, it's very simplistic, but not in a good way. It just seems like it looks like the kind of thing that somebody would have brought to a convention 30 years ago and had the artist pat him on the head and say, keep trying, little slugger. You know, someday maybe you'll get to do a book just like me.
And that other person that was talking is named Eric Breen. He is kind of the co-pilot on this particular episode. I'm not too familiar with this YouTube channel. All I know is that from what I saw in the description, it is a Wes is a Christian husband, father, and comic industry YouTuber. Wow, comic industry YouTuber. I hate it already. That's just a joke, by the way. Anyway, he has commanded satellites, worked inside a mountain, and served in the Afghan war. Oh, thank you for your service. I used to be a member of the National Guard until I got injured. Fun fact, my eye test and my cognitive test actually showed that I qualified to have been a sniper if I wanted to pursue that. And he has journeyed the globe from Alaska to England to the Republic of Korea. Wes is a proud expat living with his best friend and wife and their two exceptional sons. Good for him, you know. Good for you, Wes, from TC. Not TC Truthful Comics, all right? His TC is Thinking Critical. No relation to TC as in Truthful Comics. So right away, it's like right off the bat, the art is not good. Let's go ahead and
Yeah, it's not very advanced. And specifically, Ninja K has had some very good artists in the past. Speaking specifically of Tomas Giorello and a couple of other, I think Doug Braithwaite was also one of the artists. So they have a legacy of this new variant of having very good artists on the Ninja K series. There's a couple there that I wasn't over the moon about, but for the most part, it's all been better than this. And that is the criticism I have seen about this. I criticized it like a year ago. Maybe it was not quite that, but I said that this art looks atrocious. I still say it looks bad. Have you seen any other criticism of this Ninjak series other than that art looks bad?
okay. So far, this channel is called Thinking Critical, and the only thing he can really say is that the art is atrocious and the art is bad. Like he does sort of explain, I guess, later on, but you know, again, for a channel called Thinking Critically, it doesn't show much critical thinking from what I from what I've observed anyway. I don't know, maybe this is a bad example of one of his videos. Let's keep listening if you can hear.
Not that I'm aware of, no. Not that I've seen. And specifically, for the most part, the reason I don't like Valiant Comics right now is because there's no cohesion as far as the history of the characters, and the storytelling has gone off the rails. I've never found there to be much wokeness in it. I think it's just the quality of the storytelling, for me personally, has gone down dramatically.
That's actually true, Shalgo.
You can't
Hi, by
criticize
the way.
anything
Like,
anymore.
Ninjak
You
isn't
say
even
art
like a
sucks.
top-selling
It's not. You
comic
didn't say the
for
art
like
was
people
bad.
to get this
You didn't say,
enraged
hey, this
to
is stale and
begin
mindless and
with.
boring, and these two-tone color, this doesn't work for the Ninja K character. You can't even do that anymore, Bree. You cannot bring valid criticism because this is what Big Bang Comics in Dublin, Ireland had to say. This is one of the dumbest tweets I've ever seen. On FOC now, it's Ninjak #1, the book that doubled in orders for us. So, what did it go from 2 to 4? Maybe 5.
Oh shit! You just owned them with math, bro. This comic book shop is never going to recover from that. So, if you guys didn't hear, there's this comic book shop apparently called Big Bang Comics in Dublin, Ireland, and this is kind of what triggered the whole thing. The owner sent out a tweet saying that people are complaining that the comic was a SJW comic, so they doubled the orders on it. You know, he's in his rights to order whatever amount of comics he wants to sell to his public. No, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why it would have to be like the dumbest tweet ever, to be honest. Especially in Twitter. I don't know if this guy is playing a character or something. Let me just take a second to hydrate because there's a lot to take in right now. Yeah, it's not water this time, it's Gatorade. You know, I'm bringing out the big guns for this one.
If they're lucky, when someone accused it of being too SJW. They're making this up. Any criticism of any comic book nowadays, specifically if it's from a group of people, I guess, means that they were saying it was SJW, even if they were honestly just saying the art sucked big time. Yeah. Okay, if you're gonna, that's a ridiculous tweet on the surface. And if you're gonna say that something is doubled because it was accused of being SJW as if it was going to appeal more to SJWs, then maybe you can say that the number of people that are planning to pirate that first issue might have doubled.
Well, they sure like to put their ads in this, that's for sure.
But, not orders for sales. I said, I don't. Perhaps their pools did go up because people were unaware that an Ninjak series came out. But I will be very surprised if there are very many people, other than Javier Pulido's family and Jeff Parker's family, who's the writer, that were like, yes, let me get on this now that I see that.
Okay, and I don't know if you guys heard this part, but that's the part that made me want to do the video. if you didn't hear that, he was talking about West from Thinking Critical stated that people that probably put a hold on the comic to be on their pull list were people that were unaware the new Ninjak series was coming out. And then he just like smugly says that aside from that, maybe it was only Javier Pulido's family. They're only going to buy that comic, and Jeff Parker, the writer of the comic, family also. And I have very strong thoughts about that quote specifically. I'm going to save it for a little bit later. I just want to kind of put into context that this is what made me want to do a video about this. This person saying that not only that this industry professionals art is atrocious and it sucks, and not really going into detail on why, except for he doesn't like the colors and perhaps the aesthetic of it, which is very subjective to begin with. And, you know,
It's very boring, lifeless art that is in this
oh,
comic.
and boring, lifeless art.
You didn't get that Clay Mann guy that was doing it years ago. You got this. Oh yeah, let me get 5 copies for my mother.
Yes.
No, sorry. To me, it's just another example of.
Wow, Eric Green, you're kind of a little savage. Let me get 5 copies for my mother.
These people have to. Certain people just have to fight this so-called culture war in any way they can, and to attack somebody criticizing art as being someone that's how that translates into, well, it's being accused of being SJW. I don't get. I mean,
this is how it translates, Eric, because they don't want to talk about the criticism, whether it's valid or not. If you say that it came from the hate group of people that you dislike, and everything that they say means that they're accusing it of this, then you don't have to even consider what they're saying. And that's a lot of what happens with comic pros and certain retailers is they don't want to even engage in the idea that what some consumers are saying is correct or that their feelings are valid. So they invalidate them by saying that they're an Easter.
Actually, from what I'm like perceiving from them, they're like stating their opinions like facts. And they're actually showing more emotion and feelings than people that actually want to read the comic. Like there's something very contradictory about this that's fascinating, you know. But let's hopefully you guys are hearing this.
Or the only reason they didn't like that art was because it was SJW undertones. How would anybody know that? There's been a few screen caps. The art sucks. I have no idea what the story's about, other than it's about Ninjak.
Yeah, I guess there's. You could say that. Okay, well, what kind of art do you want? Do you want it to be more, good girl art? So,
I want more vibrant, kinetic, probably a little bit more hard hitting, better colors, and certainly a better rendering of Ninjak.
Right, and so now just asking for art befitting of a comic that's going to cost $4 or $5. That's a bridge too far for these people, and that you should just accept any kind of art and storytelling they want to give you. Then what's next? 22 blank pages, and you can't criticize that either?
I think they did a comic like that once, didn't they?
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
I think they did. Maybe it wasn't 22, but there were sequential black pages. I remember people being pissed about that. But getting back to this, this is the problem with it, Breen. The entire industry, the creators, the publishers, even the retailers, are such pissant, I don't know, how would you put it, panty-waist babies that they can handle no criticism at all. So they don't look to see whether it's valid, what the criticism is about. They only look to undercut it and basically say that it wasn't valid to begin with, so I don't even have to consider anything that any customer that's actually paying me money could ever say that might not be glowing praise for the work that's been put out.
Well, this is the result of people now being in positions of power who grew up being told that they're special. It's the everybody gets a trophy generation, and nothing is ever your fault. So any criticism.
Like, this is also like another part of the video that made me want to do this. If you heard the other person, Eric Green, after Wes went on that whole tangent there, is talking about this being a result of people that are getting in positions of power, handing out, to paraphrase, participation trophies and whatnot. Who is even Eric Green? If anyone knows who Eric Green is, please let me know, because with such knowledge can't be like, you can't hide that light under the bushel, you have to like expose that. I'm very curious to know if this is like a comic book professional, or I don't know, maybe he's just another comic industry YouTuber.
Isn't meant with a critical response. It's met with a temper tantrum, and that's what you're seeing in instances like this. And it's not going to change as long as the people that are in charge don't have to change, because the people that they cater to will side with them, whether it's Bleeding Cool, Newsarama, Comic Book Resources, the usual suspects that will back them up in this so-called culture war, the us against them. And as long as that rages on, art like what you're getting in Ninjak will be praised by the people that matter, criticized by the people that don't, and nothing changes because they can just deflect by calling the people that criticize them names. Again, another sign of a childish tantrum.
But again, like, they're talking about how people are supposedly throwing tantrums and calling the people that criticized the artwork names, but Wes was the first one calling all these people pissants. It's like, no, that doesn't sound angry at all to me or personal.
Well, it's also a sign of a broken industry. If you are so thin-skinned that the idea that someone has a critical...
I'm supporting Eric Adams because I believe in his platform. Eric has
No, zero politics on this channel, please.
Critical opinion about work. Many people, in fact, a lot of people think this art is absolutely terrible. That you cannot take it. That you have to undercut the person, question their moral fiber, and just box them into a certain group and just say they never mattered to begin with, even though they're the ones technically, for the most part, paying for this stuff. It's just symptomatic of a broken industry. Until you can acknowledge that your customers have expectations, and if they are not met, they are more than allowed. They should be voicing their displeasure because they're paying for it, and you're not delivering what a lot of people would consider a minimum standard product. That art from Javier Pulido on Ninjak does not meet the minimum standard for a published comic book in 2021.
No, and to be fair, one of the things that social media has allowed is everybody has an opportunity to voice their opinion, amplify their opinion, and a lot of things, no matter what you do, good, bad, or indifferent, it is going to be met with criticism in some way, shape, or form. It was always like that. It's just now we have more ways to express that. And so you can make a case for people just pushing back on that. But the problem is now you're not the valid criticisms are met with,
That's the problem.
Right.
Customers do go too far. Sometimes they get personal and they shouldn't, or they talk about things that have nothing.
Yeah, sometimes customers get personal, like calling people pissants and calling other artists' artwork trash and that it sucks without really establishing why it sucks.
Do with the art. I have not seen one piece of criticism about this book that was negative, that had anything other than to do with anything other than the illustrations themselves. But they still have to, kick the can down the road, put a straw man argument out there because they can't accept the truth that's, slapping them in the face that the art sucked.
Your truth.
Better artist for a ninja action comic.
You're right. That's kind of a problem. I said there's the quality in comics by any metric has diminished in a lot of places over the years. And a lot of things are in comics now that really have no place in, as I said, adventure comics. I mean, if you want to do a slice of life and you want a particular art style and people criticize it for that, then those creators have every right to fire back and say, this is what we presented. If you didn't like it, but how about saying, okay, I'm sorry you didn't like it. Maybe this isn't for you. Hopefully the next thing we do will. But it's not like that anymore. It's like, oh, you're always saying that because you're this, you're that. You criticize this art because you voted for Trump. And it's just gotten ridiculous at this point that that no valid criticisms are allowed to be echoed or allowed to be said in certain parts of this hobby. And until the people that don't have to listen to any criticism are under no incentive to ever get any better because in their circle, they're fine.
Hey, listen, Eric Larson, you want to know why your industry is folding up and they might just go back to printing only back issues instead of making new material? It's because of art like this that absolutely sucks. And then, quite frankly, Eric Larson, it's because of your Savage Dragon, which no one buys because it's become, I don't even want to talk about it. It's a porn comic. People don't buy comic books for that stuff, or at least not large amounts of people. And they want to kick the blame and put it on everything else. Well, it's piracy. Listen, if everyone who pirated issues of Savage Dragon were told you can no longer pirate, they would not pay for it because in their minds, it's not worth the money. And this comic with that art is not worth the money. It's their damn fault, but they can never acknowledge their place in any of this. It's always the customer's fault, never their own.
Now, somewhere in a conference room, somebody might be deciding, well, we had no choice because we don't sell enough comics to hire that better quality artist. And then the question would be, well, how did we get to that point? At what point did you start cutting corners? And
you want to know how Valiant got to that point? They hired Heather Antos and a few
Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. I knew it. I should have had the bingo card. Heather Antos. Why is it that when I run into one of these web series or critical thinkers, comic book reviewers, Heather Antos always have to like pop up like, and again, like I even forgot that they mentioned her because that was my initial reaction too. It's like these reactionaries bingo card, Heather Antos, Jim Shooter. Oh my goodness. Like they really have Heather Antos on their mind all the time. I don't know why. Like full disclaimer, I don't think one way or the other of Heather Antos. She actually has me blocked on Twitter because she uses a block bot. She's well in her right to use it. It doesn't really matter to me. Like when the whole milkshake incident, as they call it, happened a few years ago, I actually defended her because that was kind of a douchey thing to do. But that's just my opinion. I'm not saying anyone's wrong or right to express their thoughts on what happened back then. My thoughts back then are still the same as right now. It was really an overreaction to that picture of herself and other Marvel editors at the time drinking milkshakes, and apparently they are to blame for a lot of the things going on in comics. Again, I don't think one way or the other. I'm not even in the big two. I don't know if I'm even interested anymore to try to be in the big two, to be honest, because I've been having way too much fun doing my own little thing. But man, it's been so many years. She's not even at Valiant anymore, and they still talk about Heather Antos. Like, come on, man.
Out in there, use their contacts. The entire line went to crap. They only had a couple of decent creators, Dan Abnett on Rye. You had Tim Seeley and Brett Booth on the Bloodshot series, and everything else was complete garbage. Valiant Comics was no longer the place for up and coming writers and artists to get their big break. It became a just a breeding ground for never words in the industry that got a chance at Marvel or another big publisher. Never made it because they weren't good enough, but they were always going to be good enough for Valiant Comics because maybe the right people didn't like them along with Heather Antos. The entire brand went to crap, and their sales have tanked over the last 2 or 3 years. And even though she's gone, you're still seeing the remnants of what she did and the other hires that happened at Valiant.
And that's a problem because every company knows how they can increase sales.
How?
They're not going to do it because they're too committed to this battle of ideologies.
No, don't bring ideology. Tell us how we're going to save the industry.
But it speaks to a larger issue that they lump that in with that same culture wars. They know if they did things a different way, they would get a hell of a lot.
Culture war. That's another one that I forgot to mention for the bingo card for this kind of YouTube reactionary channels.
Or sales. But in their mind, it would be getting sales from the wrong people, and they're not willing to do that. So this is just a symptom of that disease.
I don't know. That no one's buying that art because it sucks. Like I said, Javier Pulido's mom probably got a copy. Maybe Jeff Parker's dad, but that's about it. There's an expectation that if you're going to be delivering an action comic book, there's a minimum standard. And this doesn't meet it, but you, like I said, you can't criticize it. You're always just going to get lumped in with some hate group or something. And that's just it's too bad because the industry will never heal itself, Reed, unless they can acknowledge that they aren't delivering what their customers expect, and something that's worth the money that they're paying. You got to look in the mirror sometime.
They soon enough they probably will be delivering what their customers expect because there aren't going to be that many of them left.
Oh.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like.
Oh, that was a sick burn, Eric Green, to finish the video on. So, again, I wanted to play at least the audio of that video so that there would be proper context and so there won't be any accusations that things were only cherry picked from the video or whatnot. I don't know if they're playing characters or not in this video because they really seem at odds sometimes. Like they're the ones that sound overly emotional at some points of the video more than any reaction I've personally seen about Javier Pulido being on Ninjak. Javier Pulido, I can't say I'm a huge fan of Javier Pulido. I know of his career because one thing that I do have that these people apparently don't have is respect for artists and creators, even if they don't particularly like that artist or creator. Javier Pulido is a very accomplished Spaniard artist. He was a pretty big thing in Spain even before he started doing stuff for the big two. And it's not just like, oh, he just did some stuff for the big two. He worked with Warren Ellis, James Robinson, Joe Kelly, Brian Michael fucking Bendis. Oh yeah, he just worked for a few big two things. Again, for a channel that's called Thinking Critical, there isn't much critical thinking here aside from Javier Pulido's artist sucks and that it's atrocious. Oh, because I don't like the color palette. Oh, because it's not up to my standards, which is apparently every Valiant Comics fan standards from, or at least his and Eric Green's, because you know how much weight their word carries in the industry because they are comic book YouTube professionals or whatever they call themselves. Wow, and I rarely like go into like a person like this, but the audacity, the smugness. This isn't like a review channel. It almost feels like a gatekeeping channel. And I'm not talking about lumping them into one group or the other. I'm just keeping it to what I saw and heard in the video and the thoughts that they expressed. And I'm not saying that nobody can say they don't like this artist. Everyone is well within their rights to not purchase what they want, but you don't speak for me. I am a valiant defender from back in the days. I was a valiant defender even when it turned into Acclaim Comics. Does anyone remember Acclaim Comics? Like you almost sound like a fake geek girl in this video. Like, tell me, talk to me about Acclaim Comics. Talk to me about why Javier Pulido's art, in your opinion, is atrocious, other than the color palette, and that it's not up to your aesthetic expectations. Like, what is it? The anatomy is off. The perspective is off. The storytelling isn't up to what you're used to. Other than the aesthetic, why is his art atrocious? I mean, I would say at least you didn't call his art trash, but I actually went back to watch that video you did about a year ago, and it's actually called Ninjak Art is Trash. And you pretty much went into, talking about how the artwork is pretty much made Valiant hit rock bottom. That's not criticism. I'm sorry, but we have very different views on what criticism is, I guess. And yeah, like Eric Green said, criticism is supposed to help elevate creatives or people to, get better and grow. But again, it's not criticism when you constantly say the art sucks. Because, and I'm reading this off of the About page on the YouTube channel, on the banner, quality reviews, open discussion, in depth analysis. I want to see that in depth analysis on why Javier Pulido's art is that triggering to you. I mean, like, get, like, I hope you actually buy the issue or somebody sends it to you. Hell, if you have a P.O. box, I'll send you the comic, my treat. Put a schematic, go in depth on what bothers you about the artwork. And again, nothing so vague as, oh, I don't like the color palette. Oh, it looks kind of like stick figures, like you said in the original video from about a year ago. Like this channel, going off of from what I saw, it shouldn't be called thinking critical. It should be thinking opinion. Because one review I saw and these two videos of Javier Pulido I saw is very opinion based and very emotional based even, which isn't bad, but again, it's almost kind of like a bait and switch because I like to go into deep dive videos and actual in-depth videos Maybe we just had different definitions of what that is. It could be that. Who knows? But again, you like to talk so much about the past. Like in the other video, you talk about, and another guest that you had on the video as well, talk about how Jim Shooter should be in there. And also you talked about how Heather Antos is tanking Valiant. And you talk about how you didn't particularly like Bloodshot by Tim Seeley and Brett Booth, but the other guest, he loved it. I actually bought that entire series as well as it came out, that Bloodshot. I'm a fan of Tim Seeley's writing. I'm a fan of Brett Booth's art. I'm a fan of Bloodshot, so it just made sense, and I liked it well enough. I really did. It was pretty good. Valiant, like, he does do good stuff. And here's the thing, the comic book industry right now is kind of in a phase of stagnation. And it's kind of in a weird spot, kind of like, and this kind of happened in the late 90s and the 2000s as well, to an extent where kind of like the mainstream comics are getting more of an indie aesthetic, and the indie comics are somehow becoming more of a mainstream aesthetic from what I could observe. So it's kind of like a weird phase right now. And it's almost like both entities are trying to like find themselves again in a sense. And also, there's only so many things that you could do because even up until the early 2000s, there wasn't as many events as there are now. Like, there is event fatigue. Like, I can't stand events anymore, as a fan of comics as well. You know, Before it used to be maybe once a couple of years something will happen, maybe 5, 7 years. Then it became, well, about every 3 years. Then it became like a yearly thing, and now it's like multiple big events going on at the same time. It just gets confusing, and you really can't catch up. And money wise, also it's a struggle to keep up with all these events because you have to get into so many things as well. But that's a whole other topic because again, like they also want to correlate Javier Pulido's artwork as a symptom of a disease of a declining industry. Thank goodness they're not going personal or getting emotional about it. Like he said it very well, that Eric Breen, that the internet has brought on like this whole thing of where people can criticize things more. It's a double-edged sword because in some cases the anonymity, in other cases, yes, the fact of not having the person face to face, it kind of emboldens people to say things that they more than likely wouldn't say in person to another person. You know, it's kind of like that meme where it says that the internet, you on the internet pretty much you can say anything you want because you're not gonna get slapped across the face for saying it. Like, what did Javier Pulido ever do to these people? Like, seriously. And when I see these people, I don't mean like any group or whatever they're claiming they say that they get lumped into. Because again, I'm coming as a comic book fan, as a Valiant fan, as a creator myself. There's such a thing as respect for the craft. You may not like this artist in particular, but this is an artist that has worked his ass off to get where he is, this is an artist that has a following, and it's not just his family, you sanctimonious pissant, and I'm only extending the same level of respect you were extending to Javier Pulido, so, maybe I'm a hypocrite for that, but, my YouTube channel, my rules anyway, and my Facebook as well. Probably never going to see this video anyway, but in it, even if you do, like, may your God bless you. Um, May you continue monetizing critical thinking that, in my opinion, really isn't real critical thinking because I did not see an in-depth analysis on either video on why Javier Pulido's art is so atrocious and so triggering and why you would be so bothered to make such a video just because someone said that they doubled their orders for it because it was considered an SJW comic. I personally haven't heard that myself. That's the first time I ever heard of Javier Pulido's art or Ninjak being lumped into that category. That you're both pretty fast to lump people into categories too, from what I saw in these videos. You know, like actually, hmm, looking at their video now, there's 156 likes and one dislike. Let's make that two dislikes. I can be a little bit negative myself. At least you'll know one of those dislikes was me. Which anyway, it doesn't really mean anything in the grand thing of YouTube because that only helps your algorithm. So you're welcome. What can I say? I'm a people pleaser. So yeah, like, what are your guys' comments on this? Like, if you have like any comment about Javier Pulido being on Ninjak, if you dislike his art, you can definitely go ahead and leave a comment why. If you love his art, you can also leave a comment why as well. It's all good, my friends. But I just wanted to just really talk about that because, and Javier Pulido doesn't need anyone to defend them. Valiant doesn't need anyone to defend them. This isn't even like defending them in a way, I guess. I just wanted to just rant about it because I found the irony in this person talking about how people are ranting about people not liking Javier Pulido's artwork and just going on a emotional rant like he did. Like Eric Bream or whatever his name is actually seemed a lot more composed than West from TC. Again, thinking critical, not truthful comics. No relation whatsoever. I just wanted to say that the audacity of this reviewer of this, because I don't want to be misquoted. I don't want to misquote this comic industry YouTuber to call someone else's art trash, to say that only their family is going to buy their works. In the other video where the title is that his art is trash, they talk about how his page rate is $4. If Javier Pulido's artwork and the heights that he's achieved is a symptom of the disease that's in the comic book industry right now, YouTube channels like Thinking Critical are pretty much in that same vein. They are a symptom of a disease as well. Of people that can talk the talk, but I don't know if they can walk the walk. Because again, quality reviews, open discussion, in-depth analysis. Two out of the three, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Open discussion. Well, I guess this opened the discussion, so good on you for that. You know, again, to each their own. The all I can say is, if you're a creator, keep creating. You know, don't let anybody stop you. There are going to be people like Wes from Thinking Critical. They are going to appear, and again, I'm not saying this isn't a personal attack on this person, and I encourage people to not attack this person either, because this isn't what it's all about. This is really more of a lighthearted criticism of his criticism, which again, I didn't see much of an in-depth analysis or even a quality review of Javier Pulido's artwork. And again, it's not somebody that just did some things in the big two. That's not very in-depth, my man. Aside from subtle jabs and not so subtle jabs at the artist. And thank goodness you didn't take it personal by saying that only his family is going to buy his comics, because that is in no way personal at all, and in no way wouldn't piss someone off to say that. Like there's a whole lot of other things I could say, but I don't want to get personal myself. I don't like doing that too. Anyway, like again, this isn't a personal attack. This isn't like, and I wish I could actually show the video while it was playing as well. Like it had worked before. I don't know what's going on. Like maybe the service I'm using changed some things during the week that I didn't live stream, which is a shame. Because if not, I probably would have gone into the other video as well. Like I don't even know if you guys heard the audio at least. But in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. Thinking critical, that video wasn't really much to quality from what your description of your YouTube channel is, in my opinion. It didn't really offer any in-depth analysis in the few videos that I saw. Maybe there are more videos that offer more insightful views on what you're reviewing. Again, like the X-Men video that I saw was more opinion based than an actual review. And I know that reviews, you inject a lot of opinions because you're talking about what you liked, what you didn't like, and whatnot. But again, saying that something just sucks doesn't count as in-depth analysis. This is in high school, you know? And for a comic industry YouTuber, you would think that you would have more of a vocabulary to express that in-depth analysis that you apparently have on the Thinking Critical channel. Anyway, I've rambled on for a little too long. This is getting kind of depressing. I think I'm going to have some of this. No, I shouldn't, actually. I've been very well behaved because I've been on some doctor appointments just to, old injuries, new injuries, and whatnot. Again, never let anyone put you down. Whenever you receive fair criticism, take it for what it is. Take what you can use to grow and help other grow as well. Learn the difference between destructive criticism, where you can just tell a person fuck off, as simple as that, and just move on with your day. And you can quote me on that too. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great week. There's a lot of good stuff coming your way from TC, not thinking critical, truthful comics. And I'll catch you all next time. Hopefully, I'll be able to be less of a boomer and actually work this live streaming thing better. I should probably do it more often just so I can get like the grasp of it better. Anyway, thank you. Have a good evening.